Hello gamers, welcome to another edition of Tonight on Mage Hammer's Game Table, where tonight I'm continuing my series featuring Tiny D6 role-playing games. Tiny D6 is a system that is published by Gallant Games, designed by Bahr. My last series in this series? Okay, sure. The last series in this series, I featured Tiny Frontiers Revised, and now I'm featuring Tiny Supers. I have been a very big fan of superhero role-playing games. I have played games like Villains and Vigilantes. I've explored Pocket Universe, though not played it. I've played Bash. I've played Supers. I have played Sentinels of Echo City. Michael Dessing, who designed Sentinels of Echo City, has come out with a game called Resolute, and he is also his current superhero project role-playing game is Stalwart. Mutants and Masterminds I've played. There was a game called City of Crime, kind of an indie kind of role-playing game. I didn't really play it, but I own it, and that it goes on. Champions I never got into. It was a little too crunchy for me. GURPS superhero version, D6 Supers. I can't remember what that was. I think it was D6 Supers. I never really got into that either. Of course, I am a rules light, minimalist aficionado, so the games that I am after need to be in that realm. So when Bahr announced Tiny Supers, I kind of lost my mind a little bit. So I backed Kickstarter like at the highest level. I got this cool little game screen. I got these cool dice. Pal, Bam, No. Pal's a 6, Bam's a 5, and No is 1 through 4. And so I got those with that. I got 2 rule books. I got the super fancy hardcover version, and I got the nice paperback version from the Kickstarter. So these have some rules in them that have been changed in the Tiny D6 engine. So they've recently been updated, and I recently got a new hardcover copy printed out. Thank you, Gallant Games. They gave us a discount on these. If you were, I believe you're a Kickstarter backer, they ended up giving you a discount on this. I'm pretty sure it's like just the print, you had to pay for print. Anyway, so it is expanded. It also has the new initiative rules and the new heavy weapons rules to bring it in line with the new Tiny D6 system, which I will be playing out of this book for this series. And then also another Kickstarter, the Gallant Verse Campaign Guide, hardcover, updated. I'm going to be using a couple of rules out of this game, out of this supplement. I'm going to use hero points, which can boost up actions, roll additional die over 3 dice. Since it's a superhero game, you got to kick it up a notch. You people know Tiny D6 know you can only ever roll 3 dice, but not anymore. If you throw out a hero point, heroic reserves, you can increase a power for one test, and then also you can heal yourself stress capacity. Stress capacity is a term they give in this game for hit points, and I'm going to use villain points as well to allow the villains to have powers, like I did in my Daring and Dangers pulp game that I designed. Gave them dastardly dice, and I gave the heroes daring dice. I'm going to use the new archetypes. There's new archetypes in here. There's new sets of traits, some power weapon traits, and new powers. So I'm pretty excited. I may or may not use the new powers, but it's just good to know them. I'm going to use the customization traits. You can customize some of the powers a little bit more. And I'm also going to use 2 new actions, Slam and Setup. So those are going to get added to the action choices for the combats. So that is Tiny Supers. It is an excellent game. I've run campaigns for my boys. I ran campaign the summer before the pandemic hit. I read that for some former students who really wanted to play a role-playing game, and I was like, well, I got a game that is easy to learn and we can play. So we met at the local game store, Infinite Realms, and we played a campaign of Tiny Supers during the summer. It was great fun. The system works great. I love it. And it is my go-to superhero role-playing game when I sit down and play with people face-to-face and solo, which I've played Sentinels of Echo City solo, and I played Super solo. The others I've played with other people, just one-offs. But Tiny Supers is the first one I actually played an entire campaign with, and it was very fun and exciting. So I am now going to bring that fun and excitement to you as I solo play Tiny Supers. So I'm pretty excited. All right, well, So I have many heroes in my literature, or in my fiction that I write. I write some superhero fiction, nothing crazy, like 3 short stories or something. So someday I'll self-publish those, probably on Amazon. But for now, I've designed several heroes for my fiction. I've also designed several heroes for Tiny Supers. And as I was going through my characters, I was like, wow, I don't have some of my more famous characters, famous to me, of course, in here. Oh, some of you saw a lot of my heroes. If you watched my 6 dice superhero skirmish, miniature skirmish game, yeah. So a lot of my heroes were featured there. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot that I used my heroes in there. Yeah, I didn't forget about the game, but yeah, that game is yeah, that game may reappear someday. Anyway, so for this campaign, I just really wanted to use the characters I've created, so I can show you those in a minute, and maybe we'll even randomly choose which ones are going to be in the first session. But I thought it'd be interesting for those of you that are interested in Tiny Supers, or who are, you know, would like to see, wonder if you'd like to see how Tiny Supers character creation works. So I'm going to dig in and do it here on camera for you. And I may or may not end up using this character. Maybe we'll put him into the random roll, and we'll go from there. So it is a rules minimalist game, a rules light game. So we're going to follow the super creation. So first, select an archetype from the archetype list. Now, we got a couple new archetypes here in the Gallant verse game. So I think I may choose from there, because all the ones that I've made before were used not using, or were created not using this book. So let's go double check and see what those new archetypes were. Brute, Stalker, and Trickster. So I guess Brute is probably my favorite kind of, it's my favorite kind of superhero, really. I really like, you know, The Thing. I really like Badrock from, oh my goodness, yeah, you know who we're talking about. Youngblood. There you go. Thanks for pulling that out. Block from Legion of Superheroes, like the Rocky kind of, I really like them. So I'm going to create a Brute, and so we'll write that down under archetype. All right, I'm going to put Fisto Twinklefoot in there to hold my place. All right, and then let's go to the next step in character creation. I just had the page. Yeah, there we go. Then select 3 unique power traits in the power trait list. You may substitute a trait from the trait list for a power trait choice. So power traits in the power trait list. You may substitute a trait from the trait list for a power trait. So as you know, in Tiny D6, there's traits which define your character and what they have like advantage on a lot of times, or another quote unquote advantage that you get in the game. But here, you can have them, but you switch them in for powers instead. And, you know, well, what, you don't want superpower over a trait? Well, all these traits are pretty valuable. So let's double check our new trait list in the Gallant verse. Improved powerful blows. Damage you deal cannot be reduced. Cool. Okay. All right. Well, let's get straight. Let's see what his Brute archetype powers are. I forgot to write those down, because each archetype has some additional benefits, much like the Tiny Cthulhu when you take an archetype in that game, which also has archetypes that you get. So Brute has 10 stress capacity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, that may or may not end up getting increased. We'll see. And also, Brutes have no archetype traits. So that's it. 10 stress capacity. They don't have any other trait. So going into the superpowers, I know we're going to have to get this guy super strength. And all right. So the power trait list. Oh, well, armored is first alphabetically, so let's do that. Now, you get a total of 3, did they say 3 traits? 3 power traits, and you can swap out a list. So I really should mark that page that has the character. Oh, don't you love books? Okay, so let's mark that with Kurthal Brightpaw. All right. 3 unique power traits in a power trait setup. Okay, so what that means is if we are going to choose a power, which we're going to take Armored, it's a passive ability. So I can take Tier 1, reduce all damage, 2. Tier 2, reduce all damage you take as an additional 1. I'm assuming, if I remember correctly, power traits come in 3 tiers. Anytime you select a power trait, you gain the Tier 1 ability for that power. To gain a higher tier, you must expend an extra power trait choice when creating characters. So if I want to go Armored Tier 1, Tier 2, because he's really, he is really armored up with his like rock skin kind of thing, that would take 2 of the 3 traits. So I need super strength of some kind. Let's see if they have something like that, or what. Super strength, Tier 1, if you don't have it, you gain strong trait, your melee attacks do +1 damage. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him super strength, but I think the armored part is going to be more important. So we're going to give him Armored Tier 2. And then also super strength. Oh wait, those go under, oh man. Not reading my own character sheet very well. I do not have an eraser at hand. So we'll go back down here. Armored Tier 2. Super strength. And this is going to be, I gain the strong trait, which gives you advantage on strength stuff. +1 damage. +1 melee damage. That's where the super strength gives me. Armored tier. The armored tier is really good. It gives you armor is, you reduce all damage you take by 1 to a minimum 1, and then Tier 2 you reduce all damage you take by an additional 1 for a total of 2 reduction to a minimum of 0. So it's possible not to take damage. So that's good. So I'll put -2 damage for now. Super strength, +1 melee damage, and the strong trait. Cool. So that's that. Weapon group. All right, next we move on to the next thing. Select the power origin. So the options are alien, dimensional, enhanced, inventor, magical, mutant, or technological. So I believe, let's see, I'll say he was the, yeah, he volunteered for an experiment, so he is enhanced. So his power origin is enhanced. That says super soldier. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. Hold on, let's take a look. You gain advantage on any non-attack or non-combatant test related to your origin. Yeah. Oh, should we go mutant? Make him a mutant? Kind of like Colossus? No, I think it was a experiment gone wrong, and it gave him like rock-like skin, and so that's that. All right, so good. Weakness. Each super must select one weakness of choice. When confronted with a weakness, must roll disadvantage till the weakness is removed from the area. Weakness can be anything from an item, mineral, or particular energy form to a love or romantic. So his weakness, I'm going to take inspiration from the movie Unbreakable by M. Night Shyamalan, starring Bruce Willis. And open water. He does not like open water. He thinks he can drown, and he just might be able to drown. So his weakness is open water, so he has disadvantage when he's fighting on, near, really close to open water. Okay, cool, good. And weapons. There are categories: light melee, heavy melee. Okay, so weapons are a narrative tool and tiny supers. Let's see, where's the weapons stuff in this book? weapons. 4 categories. Tiny Frontiers. Revise. So that's light melee, heavy melee. Oh, that's a typo. It's Tiny Supers. Light melee. You can attack while unarmed or even with improvised weapons such as a Bahr rock, but these are not classified as weapons. So I want his fists to be good. So the new heavy weapons rule. All right, so his fists, it's going to be light melee weapons, fists. You can attack while unarmed or even with improvised weapons such as Bahr sword, but these are not classified as weapons. I feel like his fists would be weapons. So maybe not. He's not going to use them. Do I have to take... Let's look at martial art. Let's look at brawler or martial... No, martial arts trait. Let's see what the trait is there. Martial arts. You gain unarmed as a weapon group to be proficient with. Unarmed as a light melee weapon group. You do not gain an additional expert weapon for this proficiency. Once a day, you can reroll a failed unarmed attack or evade test. He's not really a martial artist. But he's going to punch with his fists. So I suppose I'm going to have to make a ruling as the game master that your melee attacks do an additional +1 damage for a total of +2. Or I could give him like, ooh, all right, this is what we're going to do. I'll kind of game the system, and I will give him, I guess it's light weapon, because I want to be able to make 2 attacks with his fists. Light melee weapon. And he's going to be mastered in the metal knuckle bands. So kind of like knuckle dusters or brass knuckles, we call them here in America. But like it's all just this smooth piece of metal on his big hands, and he's bigger than usual, obviously. All right, gear. He doesn't really have any gear. He doesn't really need any gear. You know what, his team he might need an earpiece communicator. Yeah. So we'll give him that. So what's the next thing in our checklist? Give his weakness, select the weapon group, and select his belief. There's a hero in everyone. So sometimes he's trying to get the supervillains to see the errors of their ways. All right, so now we just need to name him. I have a character like this. I've kind of been thinking about it in my mind the whole time as I'm designing him, and his name is Stonewall. So that's how easy it is to make a superhero in Tiny Supers. Let me double check, see if there's anything in the Gallant Knight game that I would like to add or change. So we got customization traits. All right. Select the power trait at rank 1 tier. Choose a tier 2 higher power for it to be enhancing. I'm not sure. Customize traits. So you just take these customization traits. Okay. I'm going to stick with what I got. I think it works. So, Stonewall has been created. Think Block from Legion of Superheroes. All right, so, I mean, that's really it for creating a character. His stress capacity is based on his archetype. I used my 3 power pieces, 1, 2, and 3, which gave him a bonus trait. Chose light melee weapons, the metal knuckle bands, so he could take 2 fist punches with the metal bands around his hands. And he got his powers as a result of a science project gone wrong, experiment gone wrong, and weakness is open water. So there's that. All right, so let's take a look at the team. So I think I will use Stonewall. Hopefully I'll have enough time to get him into one of my handy dandy cool character cards. The characters here, I've created these. Shroud. She is a detective that has dark powers. Speedster, I think that speaks for itself. Mecha Man. He's basically based on Robot from Invincible. So this is like a remote drone suit, and the scientist running it is running it through. It's not a suit like Iron Man. It's like he's running the suit like a drone from a remote location. Tough Girl. She's the daughter of Tough Guy. Some of my favorite superheroes I've invented. So this is Tess Garth, and she's super strong, and has really decent invulnerability. So, all right, then Blink. She was military, and she is a mutant. I think I have her as a mutant. Nope. Yeah, evolved. I call it evolved in my campaign. Evolved, and she can teleport. She's a teleporter, and she's also a martial artist. So I love Blink. It's one of my favorite characters. Geomorph. This is a character I created originally for Sentinels of Echo City for Dessing's, but I've translated him over to the Tiny Supers. Basically Terra from Teen Titans, without all the drama. She caused a lot of problems in that story. Colossal. So basically this is my idea of Colossal Boy from Legion of Superheroes, but this guy's Colossal, different character, completely different origin. He's got shape-shifting growth powers. He can grow real tall, big, giant like. Otis Luke the Sphere. He has force fields that are basically in the form of spheres. So that's Otis Luke. He's a basketball player, and he became known as the Sphere. He is also evolved. So these are pretty much mutants. Phantom Avenger. Now, if you notice, I had a Phantom Avenger in my list of characters from my Daring and Dangers. This is his son, or grandson, actually. And this is basically, Batman. But not, darn it. In fact, I think he has a better name than Batman. Phantom Avenger. Ballistic Kevlar, stun bombs. He's got like all kinds of gadgets and stuff. And he's a martial artist, acrobat. He's wealthy. He's a detective. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He has a secret identity as his weakness. And he doesn't kill. So yeah, it's about as Batman-y as you can get. Freezer Burn. So this is my version of a cold generating superhero. Iceman, Polar Boy from Legion of Superheroes, that kind of thing. So those are the choices. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you know what? To make it even, I'm going to bring in a superhero designed by a former player of mine, Ms. Lauren Searsack, who is currently in my face-to-face kind of game for Basic Fantasy RPG when we meet every other Monday. But she is a nurse up in Cleveland, so she has not been at our table, but she does come on through Discord once in a while and plays. Anyway, she was one of the former students I played my superhero game with at the local game shop, and this was the character she created for that, so I'm going to put this into the pool. So that'll be 12 characters, a nice even number, 12, and we're going to roll randomly. Stonewall's already in, so we need to find, I usually play 4 characters, as you know, for my solo games, so we're going to roll 3 more characters. So Stonewall's going to be number 1. So if I roll 1, I'll just re-roll. 7. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Geomorph. Ooh, Stonewall and Geomorph. That's interesting. And then 10. So that's 1, 2, or this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. The Phantom Avenger. That'll be interesting. And the final one. We'll do a D10 on this one. And just D10 off of there. So 1, 2, 3. Shroud. Interesting. 2 street levels. Well, no, she has dark power. Shroud and Phantom Avenger are too close. And Tough Girl Stonewall kind of has her powers. Well, guess what? I'm gonna play Blink because I like it. I get to choose another one. So those are the 4. Geomorph, Phantom Avenger, and Blink, and Stonewall. That's going to be the super team that is going to participate. I don't have an adventure in mind quite yet. There's several. I have all kinds of modules and role-playing adventures from all kinds of different games that I could use. I also have my side quest deck for superheroes, spies, modern crime kind of solo. I could pull something from there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up. I'm probably going to do what I do for my fantasy games. I'm going to come up with a scenario and the supervillains, and I already have some supervillains created. I may create new ones, depends on where my story goes. I may use some random tables to kind of give me some ideas. I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out. I just wanted to get my characters out and get ready to go and be ready to tell you guys a really fun superhero story. So that was Tiny Supers Session 0. Next episode, we will jump right into an adventure. I guess they're called adventures. Issue number 1. This was issue 0. We'll move on to issue number 1 in the Tiny Supers campaign. So there you go. Thank you for watching. Hope you're looking forward to this. I am as well. I know there's a lot of superhero fans out there and a lot of Tiny D6 fans out there, and I think hopefully you're ready to watch this game in action. So until next time, keep on rolling dice and playing games. Mage Hammer out.